Today I'm in Miami and I'm meeting with Miriam. She is essential here when it comes to the memory of the Holocaust.
Hi, Miriam.
Hi.
I'm so happy to finally meet you.
I'm so happy to meet you.
Okay, thank you for giving me even like a little bit of your time because I know how precious it is and I know how busy you are. I baked this little something for you yesterday.
Oh, wonderful. Looks like a babka, and I love babkas.
Good, I'm so happy.
The big knife. Okay, here we go.
Don't hurt yourself. Thank you. We needed that.
Amachaya.
Mechayo, exactly. It's good. It's a babka, but
Oh, I love it.
with like banana. Miriam, is this you on the picture?
In Israel 35 years ago.
Miriam is a child survivor and a Holocaust educator. She is the founding director of the Holocaust Education Program at the University of Miami and the education chairperson at the Memorial in Miami Beach. She draws this strong commitment from her personal story.
Can you show me the picture of you, like that was taken when you were still in Slovakia?
Is right in front of a store near my house in Košice. So I was born in Košice, Kashau, as it's known, Czechoslovakia. We lived in a street in Košice, which was a cul-de-sac, and there were 10 or 11 other Klein family members that lived with us. There was grandma, grandpa, uncles, cousins. We all lived together.
Was there a vibrant Jewish community there?
Yes.
Miriam, still known as Marika, is with her mother who is carrying her younger brother in her arms in Košice, the city where she was born, which at the time had more than 12,000 Jews. Her grandfather is a rabbi and her father is about to become one. But everything changes in 1939 with the arrival of the Nazis.
Suddenly it was a Shabbat evening and there's a banging on the door and these soldiers come in and grab my father and they take him away. And my mother, was screaming. I could still hear her. And my baby brother, who was only 9 months old. And I didn't understand what was going on. And then when he was gone and we came out, I was told that my dad was taken away because we're Jewish.
Do you remember the fear that night?
Well, sure, yeah. The fear of what just happened. Why was I shoved in a closet? Why was my dad taken? And being explained that we were Jewish, which I didn't understand what was wrong with being Jewish. I now realize, in retrospect, that was probably my first experience with anti-Semitism.
Her father is then taken to a labor camp in Hungary. He manages to escape by making the guards believe he would give them money in exchange for his freedom.
Well, the next thing I remember was my dad rushed in the door. He looked gaunt, disheveled, and I heard him say to my mother that he escaped and that we had to leave immediately. So my mother said, "What, are you crazy?" She had a twin sister. So here's a picture of the twin and her husband.
Wow.
She was not going to leave her twin sister. She was not going to leave everything she knew to go where? And what my mom didn't realize and didn't know is that my dad had been very quietly preparing
To leave?
He knew from the moment that Hitler became chancellor that there was going to be trouble. So my dad had begun to the process of paperwork for visas to get out. And the word was that the Hayas in New York was sending ships to Lisbon, Portugal. So that's where we were headed. And my aunt in Chicago had already bought tickets for
Wow.
us for a ship called the Nyassa, which was due to leave April of 1941 to bring us. So it was now December, which meant that we had to get from Slovakia
To Lisbon.
all the way to Lisbon by April to catch the Nyassa. And that began our journey. And my first memory is running, always rushing to catch a train, get off a train, get on a train, get off a train. And at one point at night, my father got on one train, and my mother and I, the baby, Tibor, got on another train, so she lost him. So one of my earliest memories is her screaming, Maurice, Maurice, where are you? Where are you? And me being very frightened. That's my dad again. So we found him. What happened was when we got to Spain, which was in early February, Nazi had not occupied Spain, but they were empathetic to the Nazis. And the border guards were very anti-Semitic. They hated Jews. They put us into a hotel in Badajoz, Spain, and let us just sit there to figure out what we
they're
should
gonna do.
My father was a very friendly man. He made friends with a non-Nazi German Christian tourist who felt very sorry for this little family of four. And he said, maybe I can help you.
The German helps them write a letter explaining that they have a visa and money and that the family simply wants to go to Lisbon to take the boat to the U.S.
And the letter worked because we got into Lisbon. Well, when we got to Lisbon, which was late February, we still had a couple months to make it to the ship. However, the American visa had run out. So now, what did the Lisbon people do with the 123,000 Jews that went through Lisbon between 1940 and 42? They took the Jews in, and they allowed them to stay in the Jewish community until people could get their papers, because they were not Nazi sympathizers.
The parents struggle to obtain a new visa but don't get it in time, and the family misses their boat. Like many Jews, the family waits in Lisbon, but faced with German pressure, the Portuguese authorities only give them a temporary authorization to stay in the territory.
My mom said she was so distraught at that point that she seriously was going to leave me there with my brother to be taken care of if they had to go back. And that causes deep emotion.
Well, you
The
can.
thought that I would have been raised by somebody else, besides, because I loved my mother and father very much, has always brought up deep emotions. It's a hard decision, but she was going to do it. Well, as it turned out, a ship came on May 15th called the Ciudad de Seville, and it was our ship. It was our turn. And then it sailed on into New York.
The Klein family obtains American citizenship, and from there, a new life begins for them. Despite the pleadings, Lily, her mother's twin sister, and her two daughters refused to flee and follow Miriam's family.
The pessimists left and the optimists stayed, and the optimists were murdered.
Lily was an optimistic.
She was optimistic that she would stay and everything would be all right. Yeah,
She stayed.
she stayed, and we never saw her again. We think she died in Auschwitz because all the Hungarian Jews were taken in 1944. So I spent all my adult life growing up, hearing my mother screaming in the night for her sister Lily. She was her twin. Another facet of the story is that my grandparents were found. And so he found an attic to hide in. And when the last transport that had Elie Wiesel on it came through Košice in late 1944, it picked up all 15,000 Jews of Košice, took them to Auschwitz and murdered all of them immediately, because it was getting to be near the end of the war. But the Klein family was hiding in the attic. So they came down when they thought it was safe, and they then went and hid in the woods and lived in the woods until the war was over. And that's how they survived. And so when my father found them, he brought them to America, and that's when I went to see them arrive in America.
After a long journey through history and time, little Marika became the famous Dr. Miriam Klein Kasanoff. Her little brother, Tabor, became a federal judge in South Florida. Her father, a chief rabbi in Miami. Her mother had a third child, Hank, who became a prominent businessman. But no one has forgotten those who have perished.
This is the twins.
Can you make the difference? Which one is your mom?
No,
No?
I don't know.
So you have here all the pictures of your loved ones who are not here. And you have the candles. Do you light the candles
The
often?
reason I keep those candles there is I have Rosh Hashanah dinner here every year, and I make everybody that's here, my Makatenas to all kinds of people, everybody has to light a candle, so I leave it there. It's sort of my little tribute to the family. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was my pleasure to meet you. Beautiful young lady.
Thank you.
And thank you, cameraman.
Be well and stay safe
Thank
and keep up with the good work that you're doing.
Okay, keep
All
in
right.
touch.
Thank you.
Don't, as my father used to say, don't be a stranger.
I won't. I won't. Bye, Miriam. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.